Wiseman, trainer at 639 in Covent Garden and strength and conditioning coach. What I'm going to talk to you about today is the training effect, what happens when we train, recovery, and how to plan our training around the effect of training. What I've done here, I've drawn a graph here. This is the training effect, the adaptations that we're looking for, adaptations or gains. Could be in strength, power, hypertrophy, strength speed, strength endurance, whatever we're actually looking for. This is our recovery time. This here is time. So that time in your training could be weeks, days, months, whatever you've planned in and whatever your goals are. Okay, so what happens when we train? When we train, which would be here, we actually start to get worse. So our body is under a stress, so it starts to decline. So this is our training here. So training here. Okay, and at the bottom here is fatigue. So that's when we're tired. This would be the end of our training session. Okay, so we're tired. Then what starts to happen is we start to recover. Okay, so we're moving up, back towards our performance or our baseline, where we were at, where we started at. Okay, so we start to recover. Gradually, over a period of time, it could be days, that recovery goes up. Okay, and when we get to the top here, we begin to supercompensate. Excuse my spelling. So the supercompensation, when that occurs, we've gained the adaptation that we need, which could be strength, it could be power, speed, whatever we're actually training for. Okay, so if we train again, we then drop down a little bit further and supercompensate. We train again, we supercompensate, and we keep going up until we get to where we want to be. Okay, now this can change depending on the intensity of the session. So this curve can shift. So if it's a low intensity session, it'll be a little bit lower. The fatigue and the recovery time won't be so long, and we supercompensate. Again, the intensity will determine the fatigue and the supercompensation. If we train too often, what tends to happen is, so this would be too early, so too early. So what happens is we don't gain the supercompensation or adaptation that we're looking for. So if we train here, let's go on this curve, and we train again too early, we drop down. We don't gain the adaptations that we need. If we train too frequently, then we're in danger of what's known as overtraining. The reason that is this is fatigue here, which is quite demanding. So if we train too early, let's start from here, we gradually decline. At that point, we're looking to lose what we've worked for, and we lose the motivation to train, along with other things associated with overtraining. Again, there are other ways. If you leave it too long, so you leave it too long between the supercompensation effects, you're not going up. So if you leave it too long here, you gradually drop down to your baseline. It's not a bad thing if you're looking to maintain what you've achieved or in the state you already are. But if you're not looking to adapt in strength, power, speed, hypertrophy, which we mainly are, then you'll only ever just teeter along this baseline. So the key is getting the recovery right. One way to look at it is if you have a low intensity day where the curve shifts. Okay, if you have a low intensity day, you could probably train the day after. If you have a very high intensity day where the curve drops down even further to fatigue, you probably need longer to recover and gain that adaptation. So if one drops down quite sharply, you're going to need longer to gain that adaptation. Again, if you train too early and you don't allow that, you're going to drop down. Okay, so when the key to planning for yourself or for clients is to look at the intensity of sessions and work out where you think that adaptation will occur.